Alright, what's up all my little beanie weenies, and welcome back to my channel. I am of course Hot Dogs, and we are here for another installment of The Sims 4 Survivor Oasis, and we are jumping right into it. Now, where we last left off, the green team had won our first luxury competition, but will they keep their lucky streak going, or will it end today, as we are now starting our first immunity challenge? Alright, so let's explain this a little bit to people that don't watch the show, but the immunity challenge is the biggest competition of the week. The teams compete for the immunity idol, giving them immunity, and they do not have to go to tribal council. Tribal council is where individually each player votes a member off their team. So this is your only way to secure your safety in the game. And today's immunity challenge is called Ring of Fire. It's pretty simple. Everyone's going to get on, start roller skating, and whichever team can roller skate the longest wins. However, some players have already refused to get on the ring and start the competition altogether, and it's actually quite a lot of them. So on the green team, you'll see that we have Eliza and Aliana. Neither of them wanted to skate. I told them all to skate at the same time. They just decided not to. Aliana, I'm actually pretty surprised by, since she is super athletic. So that's a bit of a disappointment, and this could totally put a target on their back. However, the red team is in an even more disadvantage, as Nervous, Cochran, Jenna, Tina, and Bella have decided not to compete. So there's only 3 remaining for them, so it's not looking good for the red team. So I wasn't too sure what Johnny was doing. He's just standing there. However, his action was skating. So I think he was just kind of glitching out a little bit. So I didn't consider it a quit. I'm not considering it a quit until they leave the ring. Meanwhile, we have Tina and Bella just like building a sandcastle, not even looking at the competition. They seem really comfortable. Like, for them to have zero worry about what's going on is pretty surprising. Like, I'm not too sure why they'd be so confident, and I think that confidence could be their downfall. However, I'm not too surprised to see that Johnny quit, leaving 3 green players out of the competition. He was just standing there for a while, so maybe it just took him a little bit to get off the ring. Everyone is continuously falling on top of each other over and over again. Like, they are going to have some bruises and wounds after this competition. Like, everyone watching is just squirming at how many times they're falling and just waiting for a bone to break. And after all of that colliding, it seems as though Nina has given up. She can't take anymore. She has to pee. She's been punched and bruised. So she is out, leaving only 2 people competing for the red team, and that's Rich and Brant. Okay, the 2, I guess, most muscular guys on that team, which I guess makes sense. It's so disappointing just how many of them didn't even start, and now it's all relying on those 2 guys. However, like, they do have a huge group on the sidelines, like, cheering them on. Bella and Tina eventually finish their sandcastle and start to cheer them on as well. So at least they have them rooting for them, but I mean, there's just so many green people left. I personally would have been one of the Sims that did not even enter the ring. I am terrified of rollerblading, roller skating, ice skating, any kind of thing like that. No thank you. And it's trauma from my childhood. When I was really young, I went to a roller skating rink with my sister, and she was skating, I was not. And she was coming towards me, and we were making eye contact, and somehow she accidentally bumped into someone, fell. She went to land, and her whole arm was just and broke. I watched it break, and I don't know, seeing her in a cast really made me upset when I was that age, and it just always terrified me. So now, in PE class in high school and middle school, they would take us bowling and ice skating and stuff, or roller skating and stuff like that, and I would just walk around the track. I would not roller skate. I've tried multiple times to learn, and I just cannot. It will not get in there. I'm not doing it. So I wouldn't do it for Survivor either. But as we can see, Brant has given up. He has to pee. I'm not going to let him pee, so him getting off the rink is kind of stupid. But that leaves only Rich, good old Richard Hatch, the sole member competing for the red Nookstone tribe. And he's against how many green team at this point? All right, so it's just Rick against the 4 green Sandtrap tribe members left: Vesepia, Erwin, Brian, and Fabio. So actually that clip was like incorrect that I just put in there, but I am too like I'm still recording and editing at the same time, still too lazy to delete it. I didn't remember to count Natalie as still competing. For some reason I thought Vesepia was the only girl still left. Also, I'm always going to go between calling Rick and Rich, because I'm horrible with names and whatever comes out my mouth is just what happens. Also, this is totally an irrelevant story, but also this is like a therapy session for me. Another trauma moment, bone-breaking, shattering moment of my life was when they make you play the recorder in school. I was walking up the stairs with mine and I tripped and fell and it hit me right here and I cracked my jawbone and this tooth fell out. And they like put it back in and I had like braces to keep it in, and then it still didn't stick, and like I had a flipper and then I broke the flipper, and then it's like a plastic surgery and yada yada yada. I will not touch an instrument. I don't play Guitar Hero. I don't want to play the drums, the triangle. I'm good on that. Alright, so this is around the time where everyone starts to complete their task and everyone's going to start quitting really quickly, and we had to pay close attention. So first up, Vesepia steps down and quits. She is no longer in the competition. Followed closely behind by all of the fellow green members, we have Brian stepping down, Natalie stepping down, Fabio stepping down. Of course, we saw Erwin stepping down, meaning only one thing: Richard Hatch, the sole member of the Red Tribe that was the only one left competing, was the last one to officially step off the ring, meaning, just as a complete shock turn of events, pull through, the Red Nookstone Tribe is the winner of the Immunity Challenge, which does mean that the Green Sandtrap Tribe will be going to Tribal Council tonight. So usually going forward, these immunity competitions will be on Wednesday and Tribal Council will be on Friday. However, since the premiere and everything, Tribal Council will be in this episode. So we're first going to go over to the Red Nookstone Tribe and see how they're celebrating their win. I love to see Richard cheering himself on, feeling happy. Tina's congratulating him, and that's pretty nice to see. I think the winners are probably relieved. I don't really know. The first Tribal Council will really determine what direction their tribe will probably go in, just due to numbers. I mean, theoretically, in a real season, let's say one winner goes home, then the townies would have the advantage. So it's really crucial, this first one, so I'm sure they're glad that they just have a few more days to sit, think about it, and build their relationships. Also, how surprised are you that Richard pulled it off and won for the red team? Let me know down below what you think of that. And also, I kind of want to know how well you would do, because as I said earlier, I would not have been competing. I would not have done very well. I think maybe I could have pulled off the sauna one. This one, nope. Also, the teams are even. I also keep saying teams. I need to say tribes. The tribes are even, with one competition each. However, the importance is a bit different. I mean, as you see with the Red Tribe, they are still not allowed inside. All their beds are still outside. They do have the one toilet that I gave them, which is pretty nice to me, I think. But other than that, they have bushes and nothing else really to do. But they do have a few activities, I guess. But still, and do you think maybe that's what gave them, especially Rich, the determination to keep skating, to keep going on? I don't know. I think so. But even though they don't have the luxury, they have the immunity, so all of them are able to just have a meal, relax, and just hang out with each other. So it's actually kind of boring. Nothing really exciting happens. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to leave the Red Nookstone Tribe, let them rest for the night, and we are going to head over to the Green Sandtrap Tribe and see how they are getting along after their loss, and see what kind of strategizing is going on before their tribal council tonight. So initially, everyone kind of goes their separate ways. We see that Aliana is instantly playing some chess, maybe trying to take her mind off it. Same with Natalie, who ends up going into the tent and just like taking a nap, crying, whatever she does in there. She just wants some privacy. I'm sure they're all pretty worried. And I mean, this tribe especially has a few castaways that should be worried. I mean, there's a lot of unlikable people on this tribe, if I should say that. But as you can see, a small group does kind of form in the gym. Eliza's kind of actually working out, but we see that Johnny has approached Fabio and he's kind of discussing with him. I feel like these two are definitely a twosome, or at least potentially. Right now, I think there's definitely a relationship forming between the two of them. I mean, one's a winner, one's a townie. And they both are kind of, I would say Fabio's a bit more athletically built, so that's probably why Johnny's trying to gravitating towards him, but I'm sure a lot of people probably are. And Eliza's just kind of a listening, spying. I feel like that's something Eliza would totally do, is just spy on everyone's conversations. She eventually does leave, and Aliana actually comes in and kind of replaces her in doing the same. And I'm sure there's a lot of that. Like, no one really wants to be alone. No one really wants, you know, a small group of people. Like, everyone's trying to see where everyone's mind is at. So when you have a twosome like Johnny and Fabio, like, strategizing really hard, I don't think anyone's going to let them have that privacy. As you can see, a lot of them smell like ass after that competition, and it's really annoying how often the Sims will stink and complain about stinking when they just won't shower. Like, I've given them the bathroom and they won't shower, and I even took off the grid, like off of it, but they still don't have power. So maybe I did. Maybe that's why they're not. But as we can see, we had Natalie and Johnny just being really awkward in the bedroom and literally just standing there silently. Meanwhile, everyone else is kind of doing hobbies, I guess trying to distract themselves. We see Aliana fire dancing. We see Vesepia bartending, which she always does. And then we also have Brian playing chess, which is also a great way to strategize and build relationships as well as skill points. So that's kind of the best one to do, honestly. So I was honestly worried for a little bit that no one was going to talk to one another. Like, no one was having conversations. Natalie kept going in different rooms and just standing there. All of them were just not even watching Vesepia make drinks, just looking at the walls and just looking at art. And I was like, oh no, is this, no one's really going to build relationships. But eventually everyone does start talking and communicating. A lot of the people start migrating to the living room area of the house. Vesepia is kind of making drinks for everyone, kind of snoozing everyone over. And I think everyone's just really putting an effort, especially as the sun begins to set. Like, they know time is ticking and they need to try to get someone's vote. That's why Erwin especially, I feel like he's really trying to communicate to people, talking to the guys, talking to people like Fabio and stuff, that could potentially influence others. Meanwhile, people like Eliza are going around the camp cleaning, picking up trash, doing dishes, cooking. Same with Vesepia, making drinks. There are a few people that are, you know, trying to do things around the house, hopefully to impress others, then also potentially build skill points, being like, hey, you know, they could help us in competitions in the future. Aliana seems to be the one that's talking the most out of everyone. So hopefully that ends up in her favor and she's not making people dislike her the more she talks. The groups that are forming in here are pretty interesting. I mean, you have the group of three of Vesepia, Aliana, and Erwin, and then you have the little couple, potential couple in the back of Natalie and Johnny, who I really do think have potential of going somewhere if they stay together. If Natalie keeps her eyes on just Johnny, I feel like he would be really loyal to her. And eventually Fabio does come in. I was kind of wondering where he was. He does come in. I feel like he has interest in Natalie. I feel like he would rather it be him and Natalie than Johnny and Natalie, naturally. And outside you have like Eliza and Brian, who I think are also an interesting duo. They're both kind of like super villains teaming up together. So I think that would be fun too if they could work something out. Although she does make her way inside the group, which is probably the smartest thing to do now that Brian, he's the only person outside. You know, everyone else could be scheming and plotting. The magic number for tonight is 5, so it only takes 5 votes for someone to go home. So I wouldn't want to be the only one not in a group. Also, as you can see, Aliana seemed to be getting annoyed. I'm not too sure who. My guess would be Erwin, as he's a popular person to get annoyed at. Alright, so Brian seems to be in the gym by himself, working out, probably getting his anger out, strategizing. Maybe he's just trying to stay away and hope people forget about him. But Eliza does make her way out of the house. She sneaks her way out and walks across, goes to the gym, and has a little secret meeting with Brian in there. Again, I want them to be my super villains. But who knows if they'll be able to pull that off. Meanwhile, everyone else is still just inside kikiing all together. Natalie is bored and looking at the art on the walls. I like to imagine that they're looking for hidden immunity idols while they're doing that. And we see that Johnny actually is the next person to sneak out of the group and go across the gym to talk to Brian. And while he does that, just like last time, Eliza gets out of there. Everyone's kind of just like dodging, not wanting to look suspicious at all. And I think, you know, being the only 2 people out of a group in a separate room is kind of suspicious. But Johnny does go in there and he starts strategizing with Brian as well. So it seems like Brian. So it seems like I don't know, Johnny is definitely making his way to all the guys and trying to form what seems to be a guys alliance, and I feel like Eliza would love to be a part of that as well.
Moochie Peachy, go on. Clemens Yesu, full fleet.
Babwa, Sponge and Zul Yaga.
My Grix.
But the duo gets quickly interrupted by Erwin, and Brian like runs out of there. Like as soon as Erwin walks in, Brian is out, and Johnny is just kind of left in the gym with Erwin. And at first the conversation is kind of like fine, it's mutual, but then it goes downhill pretty quickly. Erwin immediately starts getting annoyed, accusing him of things, getting angry at him, yelling at him, and it turns into a full-blown argument out of nowhere. Erwin just came in there angry and just kind of started it. I guess he wasn't too happy about walking in and seeing the 2 of them talking alone. But he's really paranoid. He's kind of going crazy on them, and that's like not what you want to do before a tribal council. I mean, potentially some people might keep you now because you are a threat. Especially in the real Survivor game, but in this game, when it comes to such like relationship status measurements and stuff like that, which we are going to get into at the Tribal Council in a bit, this is not going to help that. And he's kind of been doing that all week, and I don't think week 1 is the week to do that necessarily. It seems as though Natalie had a little quick chat with Brian and kind of convinced him to go inside and join the group, tell him that that was the best thing for him to do and not to be alone, especially if it's going to cause arguments like Erwin if he sees that happening. So he does end up going and joining the group. Vesepia is still just doing her bartending skills while everyone's just chair hopping from bed to chair to looking at the picture to standing in the bedroom and coming right back. All that kind of fun stuff that Sims 4 Sims do. You know the drill. Brian seems to be mainly leading the conversation with the girls. That's who's all kind of in the room once Eliza leaves. We have Aliana, Natalie, Vesepia, with Brian kind of telling them whatever he is, I guess probably strategizing. And no one's really listening to Erwin bitch and complain anymore. So it's pretty pathetic, but Erwin ends up going outside to the front porch and just talking to himself, complaining to himself, arguing to himself, because no one really wants to hear it at all. But as the afternoon sun begins to set, it's time to really wrap up all the activities. So Erwin goes and has a good cry in the tent for a little bit because no one cares about him. Natalie uses the bush really quick, even though there's a perfectly fine toilet. Eliza's working out, doing some yoga, meditating, getting zen before tribal council, and especially getting stinky. Because the best way to get a vote at tribal council is to sit next to someone when you reek. So that's a good plan for her. Everyone else is still just at the bar having one last drink before they need to go. And I'm so excited to begin our first tribal council. It's the best part of the episode, and like the normal Survivor episode's the best part, but it's my favorite part to film, and I love seeing where everyone really lies, and I think you'll be surprised at what exactly happens. So we are going to leave the Green Nookstone tribe and head over to our first tribal council. And you can download this tribal council on the Sims Gallery at Singleton RW, and I think it's just called Tribal Council because I'm really unique, and yeah. All right, welcome everyone to the first tribal council of the season. Unfortunately, that does mean the green team will be losing one member tonight. Naturally, this is the part where Jeff would tell everyone to light their torches. Instead, they're already pre-lit behind them. I guess I can't do that. But in Survivor, fire symbolizes life, and when your fire is out, so are you. And tonight, one of your fires will be put out. So in Survivor, if you do not know, everyone who goes to Tribal Council votes individually in private for who they want to eliminate. Whoever gets 5 or more votes tonight is going to be sent home, unless they have the hidden immunity idol. So for my game, it is able to be used after the vote. Just because my sim can't freely just use the idol, where naturally, or normally, I mean, you would be able to, you would have to use it before the vote. But that would not be the case now. And as a reference, Fabio is the only member on the Green Sand Trap tribe that has the hidden immunity idol. And with that, let's begin the vote. And we are going to start the voting process with Brian, who ironically was the first person to find the hidden immunity idol. So he's going to walk away and go into the confessional and vote in private. And we're going to take a little look at his relationships. Alright, so as we can see, Eliza had the lowest bar compared to everyone else on the tribe, meaning that his vote is going to be for Eliza to leave the competition. So that is 1 vote, Eliza. And as a reminder, you need 5 votes or more to leave tonight. So Brian is going to be able to go back and sit down and wait, as Vesepia is the next person to vote.
Uh-huh.
Vesepia definitely had a much narrow difference between mostly the girls of her tribe, but it did eventually come to the conclusion that it was Eliza who she liked the least, meaning that Eliza has 2 votes against her. It is now Aliana's turn to vote.
Doba Harfin.
And this vote I found surprising, as it was Natalie. I haven't really seen them argue, and we've seen, Erwin and Eliza and other people kind of get on people's nerves, and we've even seen her have a little bit of an argument with Erwin, so it was really surprising to see just how low the relationship between her and Natalie is. So, of course, we had to have Natalie vote next. But the vote, as of right now, is 2 votes Eliza, 1 vote Natalie. Let's see what Natalie does. And Natalie returns the favor and votes for Aliana. So there seems to be a little feud going on between Aliana and Natalie that I honestly had no clue about. And that's what I love about tribal councils. You really see everyone's true colors. So that is 1 vote Aliana, 1 vote Natalie, 2 votes Eliza. We're halfway through, but let's go ahead and have Johnny vote next.
Vinva Pomere Muji Peachy.
And not too big of a surprise here, he votes to eliminate Erwin. Of course, I mean, Erwin just picked a huge fight with him like an hour before this happened, so duh, of course he's going to do that. So let's go ahead and see what Eliza is going to do.
Wadida. Uh-huh. Oh, the torque.
And it's weird, after all the little talks they've had today, Eliza's vote is for Brian, which I honestly don't think is a very smart move. I mean, I'm not too sure how many people are going to vote Brian. Maybe it does end up being that way. But she's already kind of racked in a few votes, and throwing in 1 stray doesn't sound like a good idea. Let's see if anyone else votes for Brian, as we have Fabio with a V. Fabio, come vote.
Okay.
Alright, so Fabio votes for Erwin, which means we have 2 votes Eliza, 2 votes Erwin, 1 vote Aliana, 1 vote Natalie, and 1 vote Brian, which means we only have 1 vote left, and that is Erwin. Will he send Eliza home tonight? Let's find out. And Erwin stupidly votes for Fabio to be eliminated, which means we have a tie between Eliza and Erwin, as they have 2 votes, and everyone else, that includes Natalie, Aliana, Fabio, and Brian, they all have 1 vote. So it is now between Eliza and Erwin for who will be the first one eliminated. Now, in the event of a tie, we have a few circumstances. And we are all going to vote again, except for Eliza and Erwin. You will not vote. The remaining 6 players will. If you cannot decide between Eliza and Erwin and there is a second tie, Eliza and Erwin will be safe and immune from elimination. Everyone will vote again, but for the remaining players. Alright, so it is crucial that you decide between these 2, or else your life will also be on the line. So let's go ahead and let's get this second vote started. Now, I'm not going to show you everyone's voting and relationship things again, as that takes a lot of time. As you can see, it's taken almost the whole night. The sun is beginning to rise. We saw the sun set when this tribal council started, so these Sims are tired, they're exhausted, and this is really stressful. So I'm just going to try to speed up the voting process. But what did you guys think of seeing their relationship statuses with everyone? What were you most surprised by? Let me know all of that down below. But now it is time to reveal who will be going home. With a vote of 4-2, the first person to be voted out of Survivor Oasis is Erwin. The tribe has spoken. Please bring me your torch.
Nor Vadish.
Laura Hadish.
Oh, Darza. Nor Vadish.
Oh. Aflin Wadida. Oh, that is.
All right, Erwin, it's time for you to go. And with that, the Green Sandtrap tribe is down to 7 members. And hopefully they can win the next community challenge or they're going to lose another. All right, but this episode isn't over just yet. As you see, Erwin is leaving the game, but he's not necessarily leaving it for good. Do the other castaways know this? No, of course not. But there is a reason why this season... Ooh, that was like a cool rhyme. There is a reason why this season is called Survivor Oasis. Have you seen an oasis anywhere so far? No, because it's been there in secret, far off in the middle of the desert. There is a calming, beautiful patch of green grass, a pool, gym, everything you could want, any hobby you would want to indulge in is there waiting for whoever is eliminated. So Erwin has officially become the first member of Oasis. Now, Oasis is going to consist of 8 members. So the first 8 castaways eliminated will go to Oasis. And once we have 8, they will compete in a big game, and the winner will come back and be able to compete for the $1 million prize with everyone else. So Erwin isn't out just yet. If he could survive the next 8 eliminations here on Oasis and he can win the competition in the end, then he just might still be able to win the $1 million. What do you think of this? What do you think of Oasis? Of course, you can download Oasis on the Sims Gallery at Singleton RW, but it's really cool. It has 2 whole bedrooms. It has a outdoor kitchen area, an outdoor bathroom, a pool, all these different games, a garden. There's just so much that's there and available for them. So whoever does come back from Oasis, especially if it's someone like Erwin who's going to be there for a long time, he could totally come back with full skill points on a ton of different hobbies, and be able to kill some of the competitions when he comes back. So that could be interesting, who knows, but I'm so glad I'm able to reveal, oh gosh, I can't talk today. So happy I can reveal Oasis to you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it. This is the big twist of the season, so I don't know, hopefully you guys like a battle back. I always kind of do, as long as it's not too late. That's kind of my issue with Edge of Extinction, is that it's way late in the game. This person will be coming back at merge, so I think that's totally fair. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think of Oasis the twist. What do you think of Erwin being eliminated? Let me know everything down below. I hope you guys like this episode. I've honestly been having a really hard time making episodes for the past few series. Like, I think with the RuPaul one, it was hard because I had filmed it and recorded it all. It was complete, and then I lost all the footage and I had to redo the whole thing. So that was super tiring. Then when it came to the Love Island one, I don't know, I wasn't happy with the ending. The episodes were kind of all over the place. I don't know, I got exhausted doing that one. I thought American Horror Story was a nice little break for me. That one wasn't too bad, but I was still like dreading like the days I had to film. Where with this series, I'm excited to get in front of the camera. I'm excited to put on the hot dog suit, and I'm really happy with the product and what I'm presenting to you guys. So I hope you guys are liking this series too. And I can't wait to see you guys next week as we do the whole thing over again. So remember to join me here on Monday, where we see how the Green Tribe copes with losing a member, and especially how they deal with it when it comes into competition as they compete again in their second luxury competition. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have a second immunity challenge, and then next Friday, someone else will be going home. So I can't wait to see you guys here next week. Love to talk to you guys down below. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok. On TikTok, I will be posting updates, little clips, maybe even recaps. So definitely follow me on there, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Bye.